Hello, this is Shalisa with part 2 of how to complete this shirt. I do want to apologize for it taking so long. We had the new grandbaby come, so I have been to the hospital. I have been running errands, had a family member to go in the hospital, so I've been running around and just kind of taking care of a lot of things. So that was the hold up on part 2. I hope that this part does help you in some way. It is not perfect because I am not a professional, but I hope that you do enjoy the shirt that I made. So this again is the Butterick pattern that I will put up here because I don't have the I see it, but I don't have it where I can see the number, but I will put the picture of it up here. And this is the Butterick pattern, and this is how I have made the shirt. Again, like I told you, I'm a person, I kind of like go in, so I followed the instructions as best I could and finished it off the best way that I felt was best for me. So I hope that you enjoy this tutorial or me making this shirt, and I hope that I was able to help some person, at least one person. So with that being said, enjoy guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, we are back with Butterick 6925, and you should have cut all your pieces out. You should have cut your interfacing out. I have already went ahead and interfaced the pieces that needed interfacing, so I did that. Now the pattern calls for a interface, a sewing interfacing. Yeah, nah, I didn't do that. So we're gonna move right along. The first piece that you're gonna grab is piece 18. I'm looking at the instructions for view D, and the first piece that you need is to get your piece 18. So here is my piece 18 right here. And you should have cut out 2 notches. There's like one here and one around here. So I have my notches cut out. Now, according to the instructions for this piece 18, where your notches are, you're going to sew a stay stitch right there. So all that is a stitch you're going to sew from one notch, see my notch, to the other notch. I just snip. I didn't actually cut out a notch. But on both sides, it should be on both sides. Here's a notch right here. And here's a notch right here. So I'm going to do a stay stitch right there, and then I will be back. The next piece that we have is piece number 2, and you should be able to pin it to piece number 18. I've already done one side. And I've stitched that together, and so I'm going to stitch together the other side and press it, and then I'll be back. So now we should be on this section right here, but if you notice on the instructions, it says it's piece 9, but it's not. That's not the piece. It should be piece number 3, but it says in parentheses up here, piece number 3. So what you're going to do is you should get 2 pieces of this, and you are going to do a stay stitch from under the arm all the way down to the waist. So you're gonna go all the way down to the waist. So you might want to mark where you want your waist to be, but just this area you need to do a stay stitch, and you should have 2 pieces that you do this to. So make sure they're opposite. like 2 pieces, one this way and one this way. And you're just gonna do a stay stitch coming down on each side. On each side. So when you get down to where you have piece 3 and 4 that we've joined together, you should be right here. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is my piece 3. You can see the shape of it right here. And piece 4 is added to it. But I want you to notice that when you get down, piece 4 is going to be hanging lower than piece 3. And I haven't ironed mine yet with this funny fabric, but it should be lower than the other piece. And you need to do this to 3 and 4 for one side and 3 and 4 for the opposite side, and then come back. Okay, so I've sewn my pieces together, and again, one side is longer than the other. So you should have 2 of these now.
It's like we talk about the kids and we talk about broken sprinkler heads.
And these are your 2 back pieces. And now we're going to move to the next step right here. And this is where you're going to pin each back piece. So this is your shoulder edge right here. And this, you should already have your back piece sewn together. I mean your front piece sewn together. So with right sides facing, you're going to pin them together. This is your right side, this is the wrong side. So I'm going to pin my right sides together, and then I'm going to join those 2 on the sewing machine, and then we'll be moving on to our next step. So I have mine pinned together at the shoulder seam, and now I'm going to sew and join those together, and then I'll be back. So right here, I just want to show you what you should have already. This is the front, which you should have had this piece, and then the 2 side panels, and they should have been sewn together. And then connected at the shoulder, you would have sewn at the shoulder. And then you're going to have these 2 pieces. This is your back piece. And remember, you would have had this one piece and this piece, and when you sew this piece on, it's going to be longer right here. Now we're going to work on the facing. We're going to do 2 things. Okay. This is your front facing piece right here. This is your front facing piece right here. I interfaced mine. And then you have the back facing pieces right here, like this, and I've interfaced those as well. So now what I've done is I've taken the back panel piece and piece number 17, which is this piece right here, and I've added it to the back panel piece. So here's what you have. You should have the piece like this, and you have notches cut out on each side, but the piece is going to fit right here, and you're going to pin it up. Let me see if I can move it over. So this piece I've already joined together, and I have to iron it, but this is what it's going to look like when you finish. So you're going to take this piece, put piece 17 on it, and if you notice, let's see if I can show you right here. This piece is kind of like a little straight edge, and then it curves. That's what you're going to do. You're going to start at that corner point and line it up with the corner point right here. and sew this into that, and sew that into that part. And then you're going to have this, and you're iron it down like that. Once you've ironed this down, grab your front facing piece and your two back facing pieces and join them at the shoulder seam. And when you've done that, come back and we'll continue. Okay, I went ahead and took my outer piece and I joined the side seams together. I also went ahead and took my lining piece and joined my armhole piece together. So now what I want to do is pin the two pieces into each other. So you should have two large pieces at this point. And I hope that this is clear and you guys can understand it. So I have the outer piece or the actual shirt with the right sides facing up to me. And this is the lining that I have the right side facing the right side of the shirt. Now this piece right here, that is your lining for the front. So what I'm going to do is pin it. I'm going to join the two seams right here, side seams together, shoulder seams. I'm going to join those together. On both sides. Okay. So now all you're going to do is pin this around the neckline right here, pin it together. And I will tell you to finish your edges on a serger or finish it with pinking shears, especially if you have fabric that is like mine that is unraveling. I really need to finish it, but it's going to add an extra step, and I want to get this finished for you guys so you can at least know the steps to take to put this together. Okay, so now I have the front facing pinned together. And I'm going to pin the rest of this together. And then you're going to pin coming down the back, and you should join these together as well. Now at this point, we may not be going according to the instructions completely. And I apologize. That's why I'd say my tutorials are according to the way I will put them together. And normally when I get to a portion that I may not quite understand, this is what I do. So I do know the facing needs to be attached. All right. That needs to be attached like that. And so I'm going to go and sew all the way around here all the way around to this side, and then I'll be back. So of course I lost the clip where I was completing the shirt the way I did it. So I wanted to go over what I did so you'll have a close-up view. So we're gonna start with the armhole, and I'll show you what I did. It's the armhole right here. So the facing and the shirt were in two different pieces. So what I did was I just did a basting stitch around here to hold them together, and then I went back and did my own bias binding to close out my armholes, and this is how my armholes are finished. My neckline is finished with the facing of the garment, but to hold my facing down, that's one of the issues I have with doing facings, is they come up. Even if I do the little stitch that you're supposed to do on the underside, it doesn't always stay for me. So for my facings, I always kind of, if it's feasible, I go around the neckline with a stitch. So you can see I did that just to hold my facing down. Now when I finish the back of the shirt, let's see, when you do the back, when you do this back part, it should look, your edges should look kind of like this. So I didn't cut it off because, you know, later on I may decide to do the buttons. But what I did was I took the extra, I think that's 1.5 inches on both sides, and I sewed my closure down. And that's my closure, because this shirt can go over your head or over my head. So I did not do the button-up closure. I just sewed down the back. Let me show you. I just did a seam down the back, which you can't see. I did the seam down the back, and I closed it up, and I just tacked this down so it wouldn't be up unless, you know, in case I decide I want to do something different with the shirt. That's why I left it like that. If you know that's what you want, I would definitely cut some of this bulk off with pinking shears, or cut it off and use your serger to finish it. I'm out of town, so my insides are going to be really sloppy because I have my serger with me, but trying to do videos and do family time, it's just a whole lot. So most important was for me to show you how I did this shirt. Now, something else I wanted to point out was in the video somewhere, I don't know if it's after this clip or before this clip, I'm talking about how there is a little gaping in my neckline up here. There's a little gaping in the front, and that the next time I wanted to take some of it out, where somewhere along the instructions I missed where I was sewing my lining, and I kind of should have did like a little V to make a clip so I can make the front opening. And I will put a picture of the shirt so you can see what I'm talking about. And it was I don't know, I think it was like the 3rd column of the pattern. I don't have the pattern right here, but there is a point in the instructions where when you're joining these two together, you're actually kind of going to sew down, you know, like maybe a rectangle, and leave it open right here, and that's where you'll make your clip. That way when you turn it inside out, you'll have your little opening that you should have. Now with the closing, the pattern is showing you how to, it wants you to do a button closure, but I will also recommend if you would like to do a zipper closure. That was something that would probably be easier to do as well. I don't know if I said it already in the video, but the purpose of me sewing is so that I can I want to make my own clothes, as well as I like to be as independent as possible. So therefore, buttons down the back is something that I wasn't paying attention to when I purchased the pattern. However, buttons down the back is not something feasible for me, just because sometimes I'm at home alone and there's nobody to button the back up for me. So that's something that I did not do. You when you finish, you will have one side overlapping the other side. So the side overlapping quite naturally will be the side that you do your buttonholes on. And then after you, I would do my buttonholes first, and then after that I would sew on the buttons for the shirt. Now back to where I should have done a I should have done the snippet here to create the little opening, which is probably going to give, that's going to give you even more room in the neckline, so for it to be a pullover shirt if that's what you choose to do. I just want to let you know that that was on page 5, column 3, kind of halfway down the instruction sheet. On column 4 is title 3, says finishings, and it shows you how to finish the top back closure as well as the hem. So not the top back closure, but it shows you how to finish the closure. That's what I was talking about. It shows you how to do the buttons as well as hem. I was trying to do the little slits at the bottom. That wasn't working out for me, so I just went and did a hem on the bottom of the shirt and just hemmed it, which is always an option for you if you wanted to do the actual length of the shirt. I know that when you're doing the shirt that there's 2 sides where the length is longer. I would just cut that off to make it even and then hem my shirt at that point. When I make this a top again, I will probably try to I may try to do the slits. I don't know. There is so much ease in the hem that I don't really need those slits. So I'm not sure if that's something I'm going to do again. I probably will never do the button down back closure, like I say, because that's not feasible for me as far as me being independently able to put on my own clothes. So that's probably something I'll never do, but I may do a zipper closure on the next one, because you can always hook something to the zipper to pull it up and down on your own. So that is something I am contemplating on. I am going to make this shirt at least one more time, so that is something I'm contemplating on when I make the shirt again. This was kind of more of a, I guess, a wearable muslin. Like I say, this was a tablecloth I found at Goodwill. This was my first time making the shirt. So I do hope that some of my tips were helpful, if not all. And my last recommendations before we move on with the rest of the video is when you are sewing princess seams like this, I highly recommend you using a tailor's ham. And if you don't have a tailor's ham, like I'm here and I'm out of town with my family and I don't have my tailor's ham with me, just get a towel and roll it up to create that dome and put that under there just to get that to press, because when you press in as you sew, you're setting that fabric to, you're telling that fabric what you want it to do, and that's very important. So I just wanted to show you, just because I lost that clip, how I actually finished the armhole, and show you a close-up of my neckline and just an overview of the shirt, because I didn't want you to be like, oh my god, what happened. So I wanted to show you how I finished that. And we're going to proceed with the rest of the video. Cute little top. I love the princess seams. I think I'm gonna make it again, but I think I'm going to make it in a solid. And the next time, this looks like I need to take maybe an inch out of the collar in the front. So I like it. Cute shirt. I hope that my tutorial helped you. Like I say, I follow the instructions as best I could to my capabilities, but I did want to show you that you could still put the shirt together. If you at a point in a pattern where you kind of don't understand, look at the pictures, look up the lingo, whatever it is that you don't understand, you can look it up. But when we get to this point, I kind of know how I'd like to do my armholes, and I really prefer to do the bias binding around the neck. However, for this shirt, the next time I'm probably going to do that. The bias binding around the armhole and the neck. Since the neck is so wide, I can pull this shirt over. So I will be doing that the next time I make this, and I would like to make it in a solid or maybe a two-tone, because it has enough pieces where you could do a two-tone. But I wanted to try and finish this shirt for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I do appreciate your patience on waiting on part 2. Again, I really hope that I was able to help someone. With that being said, guys, don't forget to go and sew something fabulous.